Reggie here, your fellow neighborhood bodybuilder and comic book collector, and I want to welcome you to another one of my live streams, specifically the Ready, Set, Go preview show. This is the show where I give you a heads up on all of the content that is going to be released from my channel over the course of the upcoming week. We also are going to spend a little bit of time talking about some current news and events, and we're also going to give away a slab in this live stream. And before we get going on tonight's topic and tonight's giveaway, I want to say hello to the comic book soldiers that have joined me here in the room. And there was a robust discussion that was happening before I decided to go live, most notably with my Canadian brothers, Wayne McDonald and Rush Die Hard. These guys were having an awesome conversation prior to us going live here. Rush was actually the winner of, I think it was last week's GoCollect giveaway, and he received a pretty awesome book. So shout out to my brothers to the north. It is good to see both of you guys. Leonard is in the house. Leonard is here. I saw Tina here in the room as well. Johnny Future is in the house. Who else do we have here? Scrolling through the list, I see Danny here, who I think has said he's never seen a Godzilla movie. Scrolling through, yep, he did say that. I've already said hello to Tina. James Tomlinson is in the house. It's good to see you, my friend, as always. Who else do we have here? Scrolling. You guys were going on. Andrew is here. Rye is in the house. Lewis is here. Chris is here. Vince is here. Mr. Comics 89. It is good to see all of you guys, and I want to thank you in advance for spending a little bit of your Sunday evening with me. And the name of tonight's show is of course the Ready, Set, Go preview show, but I always put a little something provocative in there, and I called this one Dark Phoenix or Dark Disaster. And we are going to get into that in just a moment. If you are watching this now in the room, or if you are watching this on replay and you have yet to subscribe to the channel, I definitely want to encourage you to do so. That way you can stay abreast of all the content that I release on a weekly basis. And we actually have, I think, some pretty solid content that's going to be coming out from the channel this week, some of which is topics that you guys have encouraged me to cover. So we're going to get into some of that stuff just a few moments ago. More people are pouring here into the room. And again, I want to thank each and every person that has popped in here to spend a little bit of their Sunday with me. It's been a pretty awesome weekend. I actually spent some time cleaning the pool for my kids to play in it today. And by pool, I mean the hot tub that my wife and I don't use, but my kids love to use pool. So I had to go out there and prep that for them. And they spent much of this afternoon, letting flies in and playing in the pool. So it was definitely a good weekend here at the Simmons household. So hopefully you guys also had a enjoyable weekend. So, Dark Phoenix. I alluded to this earlier this week. Well, let me ask you this. By a show of hands, how many people that are in this chat right now, and I think there's almost 50 of you, how many of you guys saw Dark Phoenix this weekend? I'm curious. I like donuts. Yes, you made it to the show, my friend. It is good to see you. Catherine, how you doing? I am glad that you found this channel as well, Catherine. How many people had a chance to see Dark Phoenix this weekend? I'm curious. And I'm curious because leading into this week, there was very, very little conversation in the comic book community about the Dark Phoenix. And as I'm looking at the comments, I haven't seen one that says that they have seen the Dark Phoenix. Now, if you drew a parallel between the Dark Phoenix and Avengers Endgame, you probably had a lot more people that had seen Avengers Endgame versus this particular movie. And now what's interesting about them, and that may seem like a strange parallel, but it's not really. If you think about it, the Dark Phoenix is essentially the end of what Fox Studios was doing. And I think it was a 19-year run with the X-Men. And this was essentially the culmination of that 19 years. And it is a movie that, based upon the 50 people that are in this room, not one person that I saw had actually seen the movie. Now, you compare that to Avengers Endgame, and you probably had like me and one other person that had not seen Avengers Endgame on opening weekend. That says a lot. And you look at the amount of attention and conversation that was swirling around Avengers Endgame, and you contrast that to Dark Phoenix, there was very little comparison can be made there. Very little noise was actually being made about the Dark Phoenix. And I think when you look at what the critics had to say, when you look at the box office, you can see that it's not a good picture. It's not a good picture. And I mean, it made money, right? Let me back up. It made exactly domestically $33 million. $33 million. And I think it was like 62,000 per theater or something like that is what the estimates were. But the movie made in the US basically $33 million. I think Avengers Endgame made that in like the first like couple of hours. But $33 million. And globally, the X-Men movie made $140 million, which again, if I had that money in my pocket or in my bank account, that would be a considerable amount of money for me. But for this particular movie, it's not much at all, especially when you consider that the movie actually cost $200 million. They are estimating, Wayne McDonald says 33 million. Ouch. That is not much. Correct, Johnny Future. The movie cost $200 million to make. And that is an estimate based upon the reshoots and the various delays that this movie seemed to have been plagued with. 200 million is a lot of money to be in the hole, to have to work your way out of. And I'm guessing that 200 million does not include any kind of advertising and promotion and stuff like that. And I heard it on the radio. I heard the spots that they were doing on radio. So they actually did spend some money. It just did not drum up the excitement and anticipation. And one person here actually makes a comment. Ramos basically says that the trailers were not appealing. And he poses it as a question. I think you can just make that a statement. I don't think that people were really excited about it, but I think Cuz Buzz says that's a lot of first givens. Brother, if I had 200 million or even 140 million or even 33 million, we would have all the Gibbons. They promoted the movie, but I think that this movie was plagued by so many things, and we're actually going to get into just a little bit of what I think actually plagued it. Leonard here is saying the X-Men film franchise as a whole was pretty inconsistent in quality. That's what he says. Unruly Simeon says it'll make money. You are correct. It is in that they are estimating that the movie will make around 250 million to 300 million. They're estimating that, and again, it costs 200 million to make, so they're going to make some money. There's no doubt about that, right? But it's not going to be a blockbuster. It is not going to blow any records out of the water in terms of overall performance of the movie, and that definitely is a shame. And I think someone just gave a super chat. Rye fella basically just gave a super chat, as did Bree. I think it's Bree Larson. Well done, sir. Well done. So will the movie make money? Yes, it will make money, but it's not going to crush any kinds of records. I think we can probably all agree on that. But I think that there's a lot of things. As I thought about this thing, one of the things that I thought about was, instead of focusing on the negative of what this movie wasn't, one of the things that I kind of thought about was what made the Avengers movies, the MCU movies, so important to us. And I think there was a couple of things in there. I think there were things like character development, right? Character development. We got to know many of the characters that were captured in the MCU. If you look at the evolution of Tony Stark, for example, you saw him evolve from one thing to evolving into something else that left people crying in the theaters because they were emotionally connected to that particular character. You had people that were saddened by other losses. Remember when the heroes were all dusted? People were like, what's going to happen next? I can't believe they killed so-and-so. I can't believe this or that happened. excitement. People were emotionally invested in the characters in the MCU. I don't know if you can say that same thing about the characters in the X-Men movies. I don't know if people are emotionally invested, right? One of the other big things that I think when you contrast these two franchises is with the MCU movies, you basically saw this wonderful thread. Yep. Leonard says the MCU films had stories and fans. Yes. One of the other big things is that there was a real thread that basically ran across all the MCU movies. This movie was connected to that one. This one was connected to that. They harken back to one another in such a beautiful way that it felt like a comic, right? If you think about a comic book, individual comics have a beginning, middle, and end, right? But in that beginning, middle, and end, there is always a thread that connects one comic by and large to the next and to the next. And if you're doing a big story arc, there are elements that lend themselves from book to book to book to title to title. And basically the MCU movies are the same way. You have, whatever happened in Thor Ragnarok, and people will say what they want to say about that movie. It had a beginning, middle, and end, but there were threads from that movie that were placed in other things, whether you call them, the Easter eggs or, the post-credit scenes or whatever you want to say about them. There were threads that were woven throughout those movies that made you feel like you were watching something big or epic. With the X-Men movies, you had a beginning, middle, and end, which may or may not have been very good, but they didn't seem to lend themselves to something greater, right? This 19-year that they had, I couldn't tell you really what happened across those 19 years. I might be able to pick out specific movie elements, but I couldn't tell you a consistent theme of that arc and that 19-year history. Again, contrasting that to the MCU movies, it is very, very different. And a couple of people have seen the Godzilla movies, and I've heard actually good things about the Godzilla movies. John is making a point here. He says the MCU movies put in the work and developed the characters over the course of a decade. The last few X-Men movies didn't feel cohesive in any way. There you go. There you go. Another person says, Jamil, I think it's Gibson says, I think the movie was misplaced and possibly rushed. There could be some of that. There were definitely also a lot of delays. I had some notes here. Basically, the movie was supposed to be released in November of 2018. Then they moved it to February of 2018. Then they moved it to the first week in June. You basically have moved this movie 3 times, and you've had people that may have been excited about it, and then you allowed it to dissipate. And you have people excited again, and then you allowed it to dissipate. And now you've released it, and it's just lackluster, And these are very, the source material is really compelling, right? The source material that they had access to, Chris Claremont's stuff, was epic, and they did not deliver. And it really is a shame. And I had someone in the comments actually suggest that the X-Men movie, or that the X-Men would best be served as a TV show. And initially I dismissed that. Partly because I want to see the X-Men done really, really well. I want to see it done on TV. I mean, on a movie screen, because I think that it's epic. The X-Men are epic. They are big, and I wanted to see it done on a movie screen. But as I thought about this person's comment, it could work. If you think about one of the things that made the X-Men really great, it was the interpersonal relationships that Chris Claremont wrote into the comics, right? You would have, Jean Grey and Rogue or Storm going shopping one day, or hanging out, in bikinis, swimming and just talking about life. You could have the fellas going out for a beer, right? You would see these elements of their lives that did not involve spandex. And you would then see like the larger landscape, oftentimes through news reports or news updates, TV broadcasts, and things like that, trying to give you some foundation in the real world. and then you would see the superhero action. And could that work on a TV? Yeah, I think it could. Um, but I mean, especially if you look at like how the Netflix shows were done, I think that it could work on TV. And then Danny says the X-Men TV show would be like The Gifted, and that's exactly what I was thinking about. The Gifted is really well done, as is the Agents of Shield. Both of those shows, I think there was one year Agents of Shield kind of jumped the shark, but I think that that I don't know that I'm ready to resolve myself to just a TV program for the X-Men. I think that in the right hands of the guys and gals over at the MCU, I think that they could make a movie work. But I think it would be one of those things of long-term planning, the same way that they plan out everything else. We're going to start with this, we're going to go here, and we're going to resolve in this other thing down the road. And I think if you have someone that has that long-term view of things, I think that the X-Men could work really well on a TV screen. And that's what I would want to see. And then I also think about it would be nice to turn on the TV every week or whatever to binge watch, because that'll be more like it, to binge watch uh, an X-Men TV show. So I'm really torn. I'm really torn as to which one could work, but I think that the best thing is for them to have ended this franchise and to now put the characters in the hands of people that clearly know how to handle superheroes, and then let them decide. And if they decide TV show, it'll probably be the bomb. If they decide a movie, it will probably be the bomb. So only time will tell how this thing is going to go. Um, so I'm reading here. Ryfella makes a point here that he actually did not see his name. He says he thinks that he messed up the entry. There were a couple of people that actually messed up the entry. Yeah, I think that a couple of people actually messed up the entry. And so that's why I kind of put that note in there. And I don't remember if you were one of the people, to be honest with you, that actually messed it up. It just, I know that there were several people that actually did. So better, hopefully everyone continue to enter the contest. And one thing that I will mention about the contest before we actually continue on is that the clip in which I announced this week's giveaway was actually embedded into the My Secret art project, because I know that there were people that kept asking me whether the post was up with the details of the giveaway, and it was, and it was part of the My Secret project art thing. And one thing that I will say, and I said it last week, and I just want to say it here again, I am not going to be able to tell people which video contains the giveaway announcement. I won't do that because I don't think that makes it fair for everyone else. So just kind of throwing it out there. Kyler says, yep, it was a good video. Yeah, I don't think that it's fair for me to tell people, in a one-off manner where the announcement is. I just won't do it. And so, I just wanted to kind of throw that out there. So hopefully everyone understands where I'm coming from. So we will see. We will see where things end up with the Dark Phoenix. There are some estimates that this movie is going to make somewhere between, 75 million domestically. This week it made 33, so they're projecting 75 million domestically, and globally they're projecting 250 to 300 million globally. So again, it's going to make some money. There's no doubt about that. It's going to make some money, but again, I don't think that it's going to set any kind of records in terms of performance. Wayne McDonald's making a joke here. He says, he says, I can't believe how big your first art folder was, bro. Remember, and I talk about this all the time, I have a bias for action. And I try to control my bias for action as best I can, but occasionally it gets away from me. That art folder is a wonderful illustration of where my bias for action got away from me. I jumped on Amazon. I was searching. I got a little frustrated because I couldn't find anything. I saw this when it looked right. I hit the button. I was like, man, that thing is expensive, but maybe that's just what art portfolios cost. And it shows up and it's on the front porch. I'm like, what the heck is that? What the heck is that? And I open it up and I'm like, whoa. And my wife just kind of starts laughing. And I'm like, that's not the way to make it better. So I pull it out and I lay it on the floor and I'm like, well, maybe I can just make use of it. And as I tried to justify my purchase, I found myself um, realizing that I made a mistake and I had to acknowledge that I made a mistake. This thing was as big as my car seat. It was massive. So I sent that one back. I paid a price. There was a lesson learned there. And thankfully, the corrected one arrived in no time, and that one worked out quite nicely. So a couple of people making the comment about where they actually saw it. There's a question here about where you enter the contest. Tina is clarifying, just watch all of the videos. All right, so here's the thing. Here's the thing. The way you enter the contest is I view this contest as a thank you to the people that watch content. And so what I do is at some point, Monday through Friday, I release a video. Well, I release a video every day, Monday through Friday, always at 3:30. And in one of those videos that comes out Monday through Friday, there is a mention in that video of how you actually enter the contest. And there is a phrase that I will give you. In the video, I always show the book. Here's the book. And then I tell you how to enter the contest. The way that you enter the contest is you go to the community tab. Somewhere on the community tab, there is a post that basically says, if you're interested in entering this week's GoCollect giveaway, click this MailChimp link. You click the link, you go to MailChimp, and on MailChimp, you have to enter 3 pieces of information: your email address, your screen name, and a phrase from the video. In the video where I say, here's the book, I give you the phrase. And I think this week's phrase was miles. So all you had to do was go to community tab, click the link, go to MailChimp, key in your information, and then the name Miles, and you're in the running. That's basically it. It's relatively straightforward. So, but I think some people were challenged with finding the video this week, but it's there. You know, I had a couple of people ask me, did you put it up? Well, yeah, I put it up there. It's up there. So again, this is my way of basically saying thank you to all those people that watch the videos that I put out. And so the way that I keep it fair is I don't tell anybody where the videos are embedded. So it's all relative. There you go. Brian is explaining it as well. There's a secret word. So this week, I think we have a cool book, and I'm actually going to show you the book in just a couple of seconds. But this week's book, and before we get there, I'm getting ahead of myself. I apologize for that. Scrolling through. Okay. There we go. I Like Donuts says, I watch all your videos. My man, there's a lot of you that have actually been reading a lot of the old videos you guys have been watching. So I definitely appreciate that. All right. So here is what is coming out from the channel this week. And I think there are a couple of really cool videos. We're going to do a hunting video because we always do a hunting video. And I think people really, really enjoy those. But I'm also going to spend some time this week talking about Mark Jewelers inserts. And this is actually a very popular topic, I think. A lot of people have asked me to talk about Mark Jewelers inserts. And so we're actually going to do that. I'm going to show you what they look like. I'm going to tell you what they are. I'm going to kind of sort of tell you where to find them. And then I'm also going to give you my impression of Mark Jewelers inserts. And so, you know, I had to do this thing in a logical fashion, right? And there's a reason for it. When you watch the video, you'll understand the logic behind what I decided to do. So definitely a cool video, I do believe. As soon as I finish editing it, it'll be the bomb. I'm literally in the middle of editing this video now, but this video will be coming out this week. I'm also going to do a vlog, and I've joked about / spoken about this before, and you guys have encouraged me to do this one. And I think it's a good video. It is on comics as an addiction. And that is not to take anything away from real addiction, drugs, alcohol, whatever it happens to be. It's not any of those things. But it is a little bit of a tongue-in-cheek, us acknowledging that maybe we have a problem buying comics and collecting comics and stockpiling comics and hoarding them, however you want to look at it. So I think that's going to be a really, really fun vlog that'll be coming out this week. And I hope that you guys will enjoy it. I'm going to do a comic haul, and as part of that haul, I'm actually going to give you guys an update on where I am with my ASM run, because I know a lot of people have been having questions about that one. So we'll get to that one in a second. And then I'm also going to talk about Atlas Comics as well. And I kind of preempted myself. I think it was this week that I released a video talking about Atlas Comics. I actually had a sequence for the various videos that I was going to release, but I actually preempted myself because of some things that I was seeing out there happening with people buying up these Atlas Comics as spec. So I kind of jumped myself and released the video, and now I'm getting back on track with technically what would have been or should have been the very first video. So stay tuned for that because I think that's going to be a very good one. And again, in one of those videos that will come out Monday through Friday, there will be an announcement where I'm basically saying, hey, if you want to win this book, do this thing. So stay tuned for that. So someone mentioned here that they have been unable. Wait a minute, I have been unable. So you find the links to MailChimp on the community tab. If you're using an iPad, you cannot access the community tab for some reason. I think it's an Apple iPad thing. You have to go to the community tab. So if you're looking at like this main screen right now, watching me, if you click your icon in the upper right hand corner and go to like my channel, you will see a community tab. You click on that community tab and it's there. If you have issues, email me and I will send you screen grabs of where to find it, but it's on the community tab. Basically, what I do is on Sunday or Monday, I put up a post, and that post is basically a link to MailChimp. And you just basically wait for the video to come out. You watch the video, you follow the directions in the video, and then you're all set. So again, if anyone is having any challenges with that, please send me an email, and I will do the best that I can to kind of walk you through the process. But there were, I don't know, quite a few people that were able to actually find the link and enter the contest the proper way. So I feel like we're headed in the right direction. But this process that I've put in place is one that makes my life simpler, and I think prevents there being errors in my ability to tabulate all of the entries, which ultimately helps make sure that everyone that enters the contest actually is in the contest to actually win the book. So that's part of the reason why I'm doing it this way. All right. And then I think I'm going to go live a couple of times this week. So definitely stay tuned to some of that stuff. I went live just about every day, I think. I think I went I think I went live just about almost every day this week, and I definitely had fun. So Wayne McDonald is saying Atlas movies will be direct to video bombs. I don't know, bro. I honestly don't know. And I say that because as I read one of the Atlas comics recently, I've realized that I think that they've actually made movies based off of some of this stuff already. If you read Planet of Vampires, which doesn't really involve vampires, but kind of sort of, I think that they've already made movies about some of this stuff. So, I think that you have some great source material that potentially, if done the right way, could make for a good movie. But, even if you have the best source material, as we were just talking about with the Dark Phoenix, you can mess it up. So it really depends upon the creativity of the writing staff, of the directors, and all that good stuff, and the vision that they have. I mean, because we just saw it with the Dark Phoenix, you had great source material and you jacked it up. And so just because you have less than great source material doesn't mean that you can't make a good movie from that. If people are talented, they can make some magic happen. The question becomes, can they bring the dream to life? All right. So with that, let's go ahead and give away this book right here. This is Ultimate Fallout #4. This is a 9.6 white pages. This is the book that was revealed last week that we are going to give away again. Shout out to GoCollect for putting us in a position to actually be able to give away these awesome books on a weekly basis. So I'm actually going to try to share my screen here with you guys so that I can show you what you need to see for this giveaway. So let me flip this thing around so you guys can check this out. So here are the list of individuals that actually entered this week's Go Collect giveaway contest properly. And it was a relatively long list. This list just it gets put up every single Sunday morning, typically around 8 or 9 o'clock. I close the contest at 7. Takes me a little while to kind of scrub the list and clean it up to make sure that there's no duplicates, et cetera, et cetera. And then I go ahead and put the list up so that you guys can see it. So we're going to roll the dice. We have 2 dice. We're going to roll them. And we have, what do we have? My screen is still loading. All right, there we go. So we have 11. 11. So we're going to randomize this screen, and hopefully you guys are seeing this thing the right way. So we're going to go ahead and randomize this thing 11 times. And we had 157 people enter this week. So we're going to randomize it down as one. Here is two, three. Oh, hold on. We're loading. Loading. Please bear with me. That's three, four, five, six, seven, eight, nine, 10. And the winner of this week's Go Collect giveaway is Lex. Lex is the winner of this week's Go Collect giveaway. Congrats, Lex. So we're going to bring this screen back so that you guys can actually see what it is that Lex is going to walk away with this week. So Lex is going to get a copy of, again, the Ultimate Fallout number 49.6. This is the first appearance of the new Spider-Man Miles Morales, and Lex will also receive a copy of Go Collect. This is an exclusive variant from Go Collect. Both of these things will actually be bundled up and sent out to Lex. All you have to do, if you are the winner and watching this, is to send me an email to regiecollects@gmail.com, REGIE, 1G, REGIE, collects@gmail.com. I need to know your screen name, your real name, and your mailing address so that I can get this book sent out to you. Oh, Liger King says Lex Luthor. So hopefully I can get this thing sent out to you relatively quickly. If you get me the email tonight, more than likely this thing will go out to you first thing tomorrow morning, because I will bundle it up tonight and I will be able to send you a tracking number so that you can receive your book in a timely fashion. So a couple of people saying congrats here. Oh no, Rob says he's going to use Lex is going to use it to destroy Superman. Yeah, so this is definitely a cool book. And again, shout out to Go Collect for putting me in a position to actually be able to just buy really cool books. So I try to buy stuff that I think you guys are interested in, that'll be awesome for you guys to have, but also I try to buy things that are also a little different. And that's part of, like, I'm teeing that up because this next book for me is a little different. This isn't necessarily something that I would have bought, but again, I'm trying to appeal to lots of different people. I want to keep mixing it up so it's not just one thing all the time. So this week's giveaway from Go Collect is a massive. Look how big this thing is. Can you see this? Look how this thing is massive compared to this other one. This is a magazine size giveaway, and it is Creepy number 131 from Warren Publishing. This book actually came out in 1981 from Warren. It is a really, really cool book, horror book. It is a 9.8 white pages. This is the book that is actually going to be given away this week as part of the Go Collect giveaway. So again, all you have to do is to actually watch the videos that come out this week, Monday through Friday. Follow the directions in the video, and then you can actually win this book. So this is the book that's going to be given away. It is a massive book, and based upon the comments that are being seen, I think people are pretty excited about it. This is Creepy number 131 from Warren Publishing. It is was published in 81. So this book is actually coming out this week. So stay tuned because I thought it was a Frank Frazetta cover, but it doesn't say that on the label. And that was one of the things, that's part of the reason why I bought it, is because I thought that it was Frank Frazetta. So there you go. And Kyler is asking the question. This is this week's Go Collect giveaway. So you have to watch the video that gets released this week to find out the details on how to win this book. But this is, again, the preview show, right? So I'm previewing what is coming out this week, and this is what is going to be given away. So there you go. And again, certainly if people have questions about how the Go Collect giveaways actually work, or the details of it, or can't find it, or whatever it is, if you send me an email or better, if you message me on Instagram at Regie Collects, either Reggie Collects on Instagram or regiecollects@gmail.com. I can walk you through it. What I am trying to avoid is people saying that they could not find it, that they were unable to enter because they didn't know how to do it. And so if you feel that way, if you reach out to me, I can help you find it. That way you can actually participate, because at the end of the day, that's what this is all about. It's about participation. It's about having some fun. It's about giving away some cool books. And so, take advantage of the opportunity in a good way, right? So there you have it. What else do we have to talk about? I think that's pretty much it for the agenda that I have set up for the things that I wanted to cover. And I think I mentioned this already. I'm actually going to probably go live a couple of times this week, probably at the beginning of the week versus the end of the week. So definitely stay tuned for that. IMJ says, bro, IMJ is talking about God Loves, Man Kills. So I'm telling you right now, this book, and I'm reaching for it right now, this book is fantastic. This is my copy of God Loves, Man Kills. And it too is a massive magazine-sized book. So here you can see a comparison of a regular comic and God Loves, Man Kills. It is wider, taller, and it's certainly thicker. This is a really, really good book. They use some interesting, colorful language in this book, and then they also have some very crazy events that transpire. But it is a really good book. If you have not read this book, I definitely encourage you to read this graphic novel because it is really, really good. So I actually got this one because of a friend, a subscriber of the channel actually reached out to me. And if you guys haven't seen the video, he was going to a con and he was like, do you want me to keep, my eye out for something? I'm like, yeah, this book. I didn't think he would actually find it. And he's at the con. He messages me. He's like, bro, I have found the book. It is the nicest copy he had ever seen. He's like, this book is yours. Sure enough, a couple of days later, the book showed up. And so it is a really, really good book. Daniel says he finally found it after some digging. Very cool. Wait a minute. Click on the profile link. Yes, a couple of people are trying to help other people actually find the where the community tab is and where the entry point is. Lots of good stuff in that Marvel graphic novel series. That one, Captain Marvel, Iron Man, Crash, Frank Miller, Wolverine. Yep. So good stuff. Good stuff. Scrolling through some of the comments here. All right. So with that, I'm going to wrap this thing up. I want to thank you guys for spending part of your Sunday with me. I hope that you enjoyed this preview show. So if you guys need to reach out to me, feel free to do so at Regie Collects on Instagram at regiecollects@gmail.com. And I will talk to you guys very soon. Thank you very much.